Hello everyone and welcome to our Nautobot Community Meeting for June 2022. Today we're here to present to you some of the new features coming in Nautobot 1.4. These features should also be in our next alpha release in case you want to check them out early. The features we'll be showcasing today are the new location model, physical interfaces parenting virtual interfaces, new filter validation as well as more complete filtering options for DSIM models, plugins providing tabs to object detail views, and a long-awaited dark mode theme. At the end, we'll touch on a few other upcoming features we can't wait to demonstrate for you, hopefully before our next community meeting. Let's get started.
Hi, I'm Glenn, and I'm going to give a brief demo of the new location and location type data models that are coming in Nautobot 1.4. First thing you'll notice on the Nautobot homepage is under organization, there is a new locations group. To provide an overview, locations essentially fill the gap between sites and rack groups are present there, for representing locations of objects that are more specific than a region or site, but less specific than a rack group or rack. In the longer term, we will likely collapse region, site, and potentially rack group as well into the location data models, where they'll just become special cases of locations. The way it's implemented in Nautobot 1.4 is the way it is for backwards compatibility reasons. When you're wanting to use locations in Nautobot, the first thing you're going to do is actually set the location types. These are basically the hierarchy of kinds of locations that you want to permit in your particular Nautobot instance. For example, here I've set up a 4-level hierarchy of campus, building, floor, and room. Each location type has a description indicating what it represents, and you can specify what kinds of objects can be associated to locations at that level of the hierarchy. So for example, here, when you have a campus, it doesn't make sense for a campus to have specific devices attached to it, but you might have a campus-wide prefix or a campus-wide VLAN group. Whereas something like a floor or a room, you might actually have individual devices, individual rack groups, power panels, etc., existing at that level. So that's the kind of thing that you can customize for your specific organization's needs. Once you've set up the location types hierarchy, you can then go to create an actual hierarchy of locations corresponding to that. This is fictional data, of course, but in this example, my sites represent metro areas, and my locations again represent campuses, buildings, floors, and rooms within that. So for example, you can see that hierarchy here going down to individual rooms. Of course, there's the standard object detail views here, where you can view the entire hierarchy, including the parent regions and sites down to the individual level. You can view the tenant associated with the site, if any. Just like with sites, you can also attach images to a location for floor plans, that kind of thing. And of course, you can see the child locations under this one. You can then attach any object which could previously be attached to a site, can still be attached to a site, again, backwards compatibility, but you can also specify a specific location that's attached to within that site to provide more specific data. So for example, here on the devices, we have 2 devices that are on the Raleigh-Durham Chapel Hill site, but their more specific location is room 101 of the UNCCS building. And again, they have a rack as well. You can filter your object lists by location, just as you can by region and site. It works very much like the region filtering, in that if you select a parent level location, for example, here we select the entire UNC campus and filter on that, it includes things which are attached to any child location underneath that location, such as a specific room in this case. This also supports the usual REST API, GraphQL filters, etc. And again, all your object detail views are again also going to show the location hierarchy now. And at present, again, there's some redundancy with the existing site region information. That's intentional, again, backwards compatibility. In the long term, though, this will probably all get collapsed into just a location hierarchy. And that in brief is the location data model. Hope you find it useful. We're looking forward to finding out what you get to do with it. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Brian, and I'm here to show you a feature coming in Nautobot 1.4. In previous setups of Nautobot, you could have a interface designated virtual, tons of different device types you could see here that we supported before. Obviously, virtual is one that has always been supported, but it's kind of hard to reference other than through, maybe say relationships, the relationship between a virtual interface and its physical interface. So in 1.4, we can actually set a interface to being parented by another interface. So you'll see I have this Ethernet 11:1, which is the format of the name that I have chosen. And inside the configuration of this interface, I have actually set the physical parent interface. And these are obviously interfaces that are associated to the same object. So then it's as simple as going back into interfaces. So I will choose this other virtual interface that I have here, clicking on edit. And I'm going to set the parent interface as Ethernet 1.1. And I'm going to update. And then I'm going to go back to the device. And you'll see again in my interfaces list again that this is now has two, this interface has two child interfaces. If I go to the parent interface at the bottom, you will actually see now the child interfaces in there. And then again, if you make a mistake or something changes, you can obviously either change and go back and say, oh, it's parented by a different interface, or you can also remove the interface parenting as well. Click on update and go back to here. You'll see back on interfaces. This is no longer parented. This is also can be set on creation time. This all can be done through the API as well. But I'm going to just create an interface on here, and I can actually, there's no requirement on the naming convention. So I can just say my virtual interface, set the status, maintenance, type virtual, and parent interface, again, Ethernet 1.1, create. And this is alpha sorted. So you're actually going to see this down here. My virtual interface is under Ethernet 1. And if I go back up to here, to Ethernet 1, you'll see both interfaces are there. There is also some additional enhancements done to the bridging and lag setup as well. You can read more about that in our documentation on the 1.4 release notes. But that is all that I have to demo for you today. Thanks, and I hope you enjoy it.
My name is Gary Snyder, and I'm going to be showing some of the new features in Nautobot 1.4 related to filters. We're introducing a new feature to return an error message on invalid filter names. In previous versions of Nautobot, if you tried to use a filter that didn't exist, it would be silently dropped. For example, if you tried to filter devices on color equals blue, the color filter would do nothing. Whoops. What happened there? There we go. So we're trying to filter on color equals blue here, and we just get back all the devices. Now the default behavior in 1.4 is to generate an error. So invalid filters were specified color. This feature is optional in 1.4, and it can be disabled through a setting in your Nautobot config. We're also adding more than 100 new filters in 1.4 and introducing some new functionality to allow filtering on both the ID and the slug of a related object for relationships. So here's an example of that. We're filtering on sites using a device name and a device ID with the same filter. So devices ID and devices name. So this will return two sites based on those two different filter parameters. So these new filters will allow us to add more content types to our dynamic groups in future releases. And that's all I have for filters.
Hi, I'm Dan. I'm going to do a short demo explaining how to add extra tabs to an object's detail view, such as these two tabs here, which are added by the example plugin by default. So these two tabs here. To add extra tabs, oh, give me a second, hold on, there we go. To add extra tabs, you need to create or go into the template_content.py file within your plugin root folder and implement the detailed tabs method in a plugin template extension like this example here does. So this method here. So this should return This should return a list of dicts with the title key being the tab title and the URL key being the link of the tab that you, which is the link that's put in there by HTML or the Django renderer. So the URL must reference a view which inherits from the nautobot.core.views.generic.object_view class, such as this one here. So this is the view for that first tab, which inherits from nautobot.core.views.generic.object_view. And so yes, and once also when you have defined these detailed tabs in one of these plugin template extensions here, you must also make sure that it's loaded at the end of the file here. So like these here, for it to work. So yes, also in the view must inherit from that module's detail view template. So in this case, template, this is the template I'm passing to it, and this is the actual template code. This inherits from DSIM device because it's extending the DSIM interface. And that's pretty much my short demo of that part of the system. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Brian, and I'm here to demo dark mode coming in Nautobot 1.4. In Nautobot 1.4, we now support a dark mode theme. You can always choose to make a preference to always be in dark mode by clicking the link in the bottom of the page. It'll pop up with a modal, and it will give you 3 different choices, either a light mode, a dark mode, or system, which is the now default in 1.4. System learns what your OS preferences of whether or not all dark mode, all light mode, and we'll change accordingly. But again, you can always be explicit in saying I want Nautobot in dark mode or Nautobot in light mode. Again, with system setting, when your browser Chrome and your OS switches into dark mode, everything in the site transitions automatically, and it will automatically transition back. Dark mode is also compatible with some of the additional views in Nautobot. For example, if you go and look at a rack, you will see the elevation is also in a compatible dark mode, as well as the API docs. They are also themed accordingly. So you'll see all of your information in non-eye blinding dark mode. And that's dark mode for 1.4. Before we go, we wanted to let you know about a few other features that were almost ready to go, so look forward to some quick demos coming out soon. Bringing even more functionality to dynamic groups that we introduced in 1.3, you will soon be able to combine dynamic groups with inclusion and exclusion like operators. You'll be able to rerun a job with the same arguments you previously provided in a simplified 2-step operation, instead of copying and pasting each argument from the original run. Lastly, for job authors that are looking for some advanced functionality to their forms, you'll be able to provide additional JavaScript and CSS to make entering data into the job forms much easier. Thank you all for watching this month's community meeting. You can follow on in our Slack channel for additional conversations. And please feel free to let us know if you enjoyed this new format. We hope you liked it. Happy automating!